Hello. Welcome to your channel, Virgo. Listen carefully. What I'm about to tell you, you're not going to want to hear. But you need to, because right now, in this exact moment, something is being revealed to you that you've been avoiding or maybe sensing, but not fully admitting to yourself. And if you keep scrolling past this, if you ignore what's trying to come through right now, you're going to stay stuck in the same loop you've been in. So stop, breathe, and let me tell you what's actually happening. There's a truth sitting in your chest right now that you haven't fully spoken out loud. A truth about someone, a truth about a situation, a truth about yourself. And part of you has been doubting, wondering if you're being paranoid, if you're overthinking, if you're just making things up in your head. But here's what I need you to understand. You're not. Those doubts you've been having, those suspicions, those gut feelings that something isn't right, that something isn't adding up, that someone isn't being honest with you, they're being confirmed. Not by some external sign, not by some dramatic revelation, but by the way your body responds when you think about it. By the way your energy shifts when you're around certain people. By the way you can't shake this feeling. No matter how much you try to talk yourself out of it, have you been feeling this? This knowing that won't go away? Let me know in the comments if this is already landing, because what's happening right now is your reality is shifting. And I don't mean that in some vague, mystical way. I mean, you're starting to see things as they actually are. Not as you wanted them to be, not as you hoped they were, not as people told you they were, but as they actually are. And that's brutal. It's brutal because it means letting go of certain illusions, certain stories you've been telling yourself, certain people you've been making excuses for. It means admitting that yes, you were right to doubt. Yes, your intuition was trying to tell you something. Yes, that feeling you kept pushing down was actually accurate. And here's the thing about this kind of truth. It doesn't feel good at first. It feels like loss. It feels like disappointment. It feels like, how did I not see this sooner? But underneath that, underneath the initial sting of seeing clearly, there's something else emerging, something you didn't expect. A gift. And I know that might sound strange right now, especially if you're in the middle of processing something heavy, something painful, something that's forcing you to rearrange your entire understanding of a situation. But stay with me, because this gift, it's not something external. It's not something someone's going to hand you. It's something that's been inside you all along, but you couldn't access it fully until you stopped pretending, until you stopped forcing yourself to believe things that didn't align with what you were actually experiencing. Does this make sense? Comment below if you're starting to see what I'm talking about, because what I keep sensing is you have a very specific ability, an ability to see through things, to sense what's real and what's performance, to know when someone's being genuine and when they're just saying what they think you want to hear. And for a long time, you might have tried to suppress that. You might have told yourself you were being too critical, too suspicious, too hard on people. You might have forced yourself to give people the benefit of the doubt even when your instincts were screaming at you to pay attention. But here's what's happening now. You're done overriding your own knowing. You're done making yourself smaller, quieter, more accommodating, just to keep the peace, just to avoid conflict, just to make other people comfortable. You're starting to trust what you see, what you feel, what you know to be true. And that's the gift of discernment, the gift of clarity, the gift of being able to look at a situation and see it for what it is without needing to soften it, justify it, or explain it away. Have you noticed this shift in yourself? this unwillingness to ignore what you're sensing? Let me know in the comments, because I want to hear how this is showing up for you. Because there's something else I need to tell you. This brutal truth that's being revealed, it's not just about one person or one situation. It's about a pattern you've been repeating without fully realizing it. A pattern of giving people more credit than they've earned, of staying in situations longer than you should, of hoping that if you just try harder, understand better, love more, things will change. But they don't, and now you're seeing that. You're seeing how much energy you've been pouring into places that were never going to give you a return. You're seeing how many times you've explained away red flags, justified inconsistency, accepted less than you deserved. And that awareness, it's painful, but it's also liberating, because once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Once you recognize how you've been moving through the world, you can start moving differently. And that's exactly what's happening. Your entire reality is shifting, not because your circumstances are changing, but because you're changing. You're changing the way you interpret what you see, the way you respond to what you feel, the way you move when something doesn't align. Before, you might have stayed, questioned yourself, tried to make it work. Now, you're just noticing, acknowledging, and making different choices. Does this feel true for you right now? Drop a comment if you're experiencing this shift. Because I keep seeing this where someone goes through a period of brutal honesty with themselves, where they stop pretending, stop performing, stop trying to be the person everyone else needs them to be. And in that space, in that raw, uncomfortable space of just being real, something emerges, a version of themselves that's sharper, clearer, more aligned, not hardened, not bitter, not closed off, just awake. Awake to what's real and what's not. Awake to who's genuine and who's just playing a role. Awake to what actually serves them and what's just draining their energy. And this awakeness, this clarity, it's your unique gift. It's the thing that sets you apart, the thing that makes you valuable, the thing that other people might not understand, but that you can't ignore anymore. You see things other people don't see. You feel things other people miss. Things without needing external proof. And for a long time, that might have felt like a burden, like a curse, like something that made relationships harder, trust more complicated, connection more challenging. But what if it's actually your greatest strength? What if this ability to see clearly, to sense what's beneath the surface, to know when something's off, what if that's exactly what you need right now? Because here's what I keep sensing. You're entering a phase where you can't afford to be naive anymore. You can't afford to ignore your instincts. You can't afford to override your knowing just to keep things comfortable. You need this gift. You need this brutal honesty, this clarity, this willingness to see things as they are. Because the path you're walking now, it requires discernment. It requires you to be able to look at opportunities and know which ones are real and which ones are distractions. It requires you to be able to look at people and know who's aligned with your growth and who's just taking up space. It requires you to trust yourself, even when no one else validates what you're seeing. Have you been noticing this increasing need to trust your own perception? Let me know in the comments, because what's happening is you're being prepared for something that requires this level of clarity, this level of awareness, this level of inner knowing. And the doubts you've been having, the ones that are being confirmed right now, they're not there to hurt you. They're there to show you that you were right, that your intuition was working, that you can trust what you sense, even when it goes against what everyone else is saying. And once you fully accept that, once you stop second guessing yourself, everything changes. You stop wasting time on people who aren't real. You stop investing energy in situations that aren't going anywhere. You stop hoping for change in places that have already shown you who they are. And instead, you start moving with precision, with intention, with clarity toward what's actually aligned, toward what's actually real, toward what actually has the potential to grow into something meaningful. Does this resonate? Drop a comment and tell me what's being confirmed for you right now. Because I see you. I see you standing in this moment of brutal truth. And I know it's not easy. I know it hurts to see clearly when you wanted to believe something different. I know it's uncomfortable to admit you were right about your doubts when part of you wanted to be wrong. But here's what I need you to understand. This discomfort is temporary. This pain of seeing clearly, it passes. But the gift, the clarity, the discernment, the ability to trust yourself, that stays. And that's what transforms your entire reality. Not overnight, not dramatically, but steadily. As you start making choices from this new place of awareness, as you start moving with this level of honesty, as you start trusting what you know instead of what you wish were true, your life starts to reflect that. The people around you start to shift. The opportunities that show up start to be more aligned. The situations you find yourself in start to actually match your values. Because you're no longer tolerating misalignment. You're no longer making excuses. You're just seeing clearly and moving accordingly. And that's power, real power. Not the kind that controls others, not the kind that forces outcomes, but the kind that keeps you centered, grounded, protected, no matter what's happening around you. So if you're here, if this found you, if these words are landing in a way that feels personal, know that you're exactly where you need to be. You're seeing what you need to see. You're learning what you need to learn. You're developing what you need to develop. And the brutal truth that's being revealed right now, it's not destroying you. It's refining you. It's sharpening your vision, strengthening your boundaries, deepening your trust in yourself. And that gift, that unique ability to see clearly, it's going to serve you in ways you can't even imagine yet. So trust it. Trust what you're seeing. Trust what you're feeling. Trust what you know. Even if no one else gets it, even if no one else validates it, even if it means walking away from things you wanted to work out, trust yourself because you're not wrong. You never were. Comment below and let me know what truth is being revealed to you right now, because I want to witness this moment with you. I don't sell futures. I build architects. No predictions, just the raw truth for the tough ones. Stay magic. Stay in the now.